To HODL That Thought, your weekly cryptocurrency podcast presented by CryptoFinder. HODL That Thought will guide you through the crazy world that is cryptocurrency, as seen through the short-sighted eyes of your hosts, Mark, Adam, that's me, and Liz. Read our disclaimer, understand our approach, and then sit back and enjoy our podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to HODL That Thought, your podcast about Bitcoin, blockchain, and everything in between. Could be anything. We don't know what resides in that spectrum. It could be other cryptocurrencies. It could be a jam sandwich. We don't know, but we're finding out. We're traversing the expanse between Bitcoin and blockchain to find out everything that's in between. Who knows? We might stumble across, say, Abe Vigoda. We don't know, but we'll find out. I am your host, Adam Smith. To my left is Graham Cook.
Good afternoon, Adam. How you doing?
Very good. Very good. Yeah. And joining us for a special guest shot for the next couple episodes is Mr. Richard Whitten.
Hey, everyone. How you going? Think of me as Elizabeth Barry, but different, I guess. Filling in for her today. A little bit different.
Without the kind of venomous contempt that Liz has for us. There's still a lot of contempt, but it's slightly less venomous. So the usual tension in the room has eased somewhat.
Yeah, it just feels super chill this week.
Yeah.
It's just my first time nerves, and if I do it again next week, it'll be pure venom.
Pure hatred. Yeah. Just to see.
I'm getting Slack messages from Liz saying, "Can you be more hateful, please?"
Liz is off gallivanting about in the United States for the next couple weeks. So Richard is keeping the seat warm. Really, he's keeping Graham's seat warm.
I'm keeping Liz's seat warm. I don't know how that works.
I'm actually keeping Liz's seat warm. You're keeping my seat warm.
Oh, yeah.
Liz is, I assume, keeping someone's seat warm at the moment. But it's kind of like a pyramid scheme, basically.
No.
Like at some point we're going to run
chairs, really.
We're going to run out of asses to warm seats at some point.
And I'm the new recruit who's got the sort of the coldest seat. It has to go in and
the warmest
start. Of course. Thank you. That's a small consolation at least.
Something we've always remarked upon. So you're getting an all-guy crew for the next couple weeks. So maybe we'll talk some vaping.
It's a podcast with three guys. They have to.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk. All our problems with the Star Wars: The Last Jedi. That kind of stuff. But before we get into any of that tomfoolery, let's check out the week's news. It's moving the needle.
Tomfoolery. We're definitely going to get into some tomfoolery at some point. Is that what you're promising?
There's going to be plenty of tomfoolery. I think we've tomfooled around already.
I feel tomfoolish to a degree. Yeah.
So, look, one of the big criticisms of cryptocurrency is the amount of energy it uses, right? In fact, BIS, the Bank for International Settlements, came out and just lambasted Bitcoin, calling it useless, and basically talking about how it's just sucking up the world's energy. Well, Forbes has run a piece kind of comparing the energy used by Bitcoin and blockchain to the energy used by actual physical bank branches, right? So it says, according to the World Bank, there are 12.5 bank branches per 100,000 people in the world, right? So that puts us just shy of 1 million bank branches worldwide. Those bank branches have about 3 million ATMs, roughly the same number of machines as there are Bitcoin mining machines. So it says that Bitcoin actually uses the same amount of energy as banking sector ATMs, right? Now, on top of that, banks also have branches to run, and they have big offices, and obviously those take energy too. So what this is basically saying is that Bitcoin isn't going to suck up the world's energy and boil the oceans, because banks right now are actually using more energy than Bitcoin. And Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are working on ways to become more energy efficient and scale back their energy consumption. So there you go. Everything we thought about, Bitcoin destroying the planet, maybe it won't, or maybe not in the way we thought. I mean, it could still destroy the planet, but maybe not by sucking.
Well,
up
I guess
all
the global banking sector is much, much bigger still than crypto in some respect, right? If you had crypto at the same scale as the global banking system, wouldn't that mean it would be much more destructive? I guess
that's a very good point.
That's the I mean, that's the only way I can see that it would still be a problem. But
they're trying to do very different things to a degree, though, as well. But like, it would seem that with the Bitcoin thing and how much energy it consumes, which actually will come up in another thing later on in the podcast, for the difficulty rating to keep increasing for the Bitcoin network. You need to rely on Moore's law really to determine, like, processing power would need to be increasing along with the difficulty for it not to be
so there's a scale sort
costing
of
more electricity to run.
Yeah,
because as the network gets bigger, it gets more difficult to to validate those blocks, and more difficult to mine Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's right.
There'll actually be, coincidentally, there'll be a piece on the Finder website, I think this week, New Insights blog, which is going to look at the cost, the way to calculate the cost in electricity of mining Bitcoin and a couple of other cryptocurrencies in whatever particular country you're in. It's going to be a 3-part thing and kind of explain the concept from first principles. So that might be interesting. It should be up by the time this podcast is out.
Wow. Okay, so basically, will Bitcoin suck up all the world's energy and leave us in a post-apocalyptic wasteland? I think we landed on a maybe.
Possibly, yeah.
Well, I'm going to go with yes, just a flat out.
Okay, flat out yes.
Yeah.
Which is good because as devotees of this podcast know, I am a huge fan of the apocalypse. So bring it on.
Apocalypse time. My story this week is that Apple has flat out banned apps that use the processor on your iPhone or your iPad for mining cryptocurrencies. So previously there would have been some apps that kind of took advantage of the processing power in your phone, not to use your phone in itself to mine cryptocurrency, because the processing power will be a drop in the ocean compared to what's required. But if you have an app on 100,000 phones, you can start kind of factoring out portions of the calculation to each phone and then start mining cryptocurrency.
Are these apps that people knew were mining cryptocurrency, or is it mining it in the background?
No, I would guess a lot of the time it's mining it in the background. The actual change to the regulations says that any apps, including third-party advertisements displayed within them, may not run unrelated background processes such as cryptocurrency mining. So it definitely is those apps that are secretly using your processing power in the background to do something. Interestingly, they've said that they're going to protect apps that facilitate cryptocurrency trading and such. So cryptocurrency is very much still going to be part of the App Store, but it's only just targeting those kind of secret apps which are taking advantage of your processing power in the background.
Okay. Which ones were they? That's what I want to know.
Oh, they did not. According to the article I had seen, they didn't list.
What do I have that's been mining cryptocurrency in the background without me knowing?
Spotify. Every time you hear a song, you crunch a coin.
So these apps may facilitate transactions or transmissions of cryptocurrency on an approved exchange, provided they are offered by the exchange itself. There's also something else in the regulations about allowing access to ICOs, initial coin offerings, as long as they're from reputable sources like banks and stuff. So they also seem to be clamping down on kind of fake ICOs and stuff in the market. So it's
interesting.
It's not the Wild West anymore.
No, there's laws now. We have to follow the rules.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Android has any similar.
Android is the Wild West.
Yes, that's the thing. They don't really check, right? So I'm an Android user, so I better.
So they're mining shit all over.
I'm currently mining 6 different coins as we speak from my pocket. What a world. Right. Well, yeah, my news story actually is on a similar theme, well, kind of, about crackdowns and regulations. The headline is South Korea makes advances in cryptocurrency regulation. So, South Korea is a massive country when it comes to crypto, and they tend to make a lot of headlines too, because when something goes wrong, it's a big deal over there, or when the government suddenly makes a hasty decision, which has happened a few times, I think. We've seen prices for coins drop. So was it just a week ago? I think there was the CoinRail exchange hack wiped, I don't know how many, was it millions or billions of dollars off the value of a couple of coins in South Korea. So the government has introduced some fairly stringent new policies. One is a know your customer policy, and one's an anti-money laundering policy to protect crypto investors. Which is obviously a good thing for investors. And the articles have been saying that apparently people in the Korean government have been reluctant to actually start regulating these markets because their concern was to legitimize cryptocurrency in a way that they weren't sort of ready to handle. So it was a strange sort of political decision about worrying about on the one hand, we need to put some laws in place because things are getting nuts, and as you said, the Wild West. But at the same time, if we start to legalize this, now we're suddenly responsible for an entirely new.
People take it seriously.
Yes. Yeah. But it's already obviously people in Korea are taking it very seriously already.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably a good step. But it opens up a whole bunch of new sort of questions as well, which is really interesting. Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, look, that'll do it for your weekly dose of news with Moving the Needle. Up next, you know what? I think it's time for a chuckle. I think it's time to lighten the mood. Liz isn't here to bring us all down.
No.
So up next, it's cryptocurrency. Okay, we've seen some pretty stellar celebrities throw their support behind crypto. We've seen Ashton Kutcher go big on Ripple. We talked about the Woz getting behind Bitcoin. We've Dennis Rodman, big fan of Potcoin.
Potcoin.
Steven Seagal, of course, our personal favorite. Bitcoin 2 Gen.
Could we get any more interesting than those people? Could we? I don't know.
Honestly, if I were forming like a ragtag group of, like a group of misfits for an underdog baseball team, those are the guys I'd want.
The exchangeables, perhaps. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and they'd take us all the way to a championship with some crazy trick play. Everyone would count them out, but they'd come rallying back in the 9th inning and have a heartwarming win. Well, look at catcher on that team. I'm going to put the newest crypto ambassador, Mr. William Shatner.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Okay.
What was missing?
Complete.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Yes.
I was just about to say, who, if not Steven Seagal, would be the ultimate sort of celebrity to endorse William Shatner, of course.
William Shatner.
Yeah, a crypto
William
guy.
Shatner. So, Shatner, this is following a recent study that estimated that mining Bitcoin consumes as much electricity as the Republic of Ireland.
Ah, great.
Wow.
So there you go. But I don't really have any context for how much energy you guys consume. So it's like
It depends on the time of year. It's very cold in Ireland,
Right, yeah.
So a lot of heating.
Yeah.
No air conditioning though. We just literally don't
No
have
air conditioning.
It's
That's
just
amazing.
radiators. The air conditioners don't exist.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Completely unnecessary. Also, no mosquitoes. That's a benefit.
Oh, that is a huge
That
benefit.
sounds like a great place to live. Sounds amazing.
So William Shatner is getting involved in some efforts to kind of make mining crypto a bit more sustainable, looking to push renewable energy in the use of mining Bitcoin, right? So what he's done is he's become the spokesperson for Solar Alliance. It's a Vancouver-based company that's buying an abandoned warehouse in Murfreesboro, Illinois, and it's going to build a 3-megawatt solar farm. And it's going to rent out space to cryptocurrency miners once it becomes operational. And the Shat says, as an advocate for solar energy, I was intrigued by the potential for it to power. I should say, as an advocate for solar energy, I was intrigued by the potential for it to power cryptocurrency mining operations. There are energy intensive, and utilizing solar rays to power them makes social and economic sense. So,
Wow, that's amazing.
yeah, so we got ourselves a...
Well, he's the man. He's the man. If you want a spokesperson, he's the man.
Yeah,
Pretty
absolutely.
much. As long as you don't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah,
Which he definitely does.
which, I love that about William Shatner.
Yeah.
He does not take himself too seriously. Either that or he's not in on the joke. I choose to believe he doesn't take himself
I think
seriously.
his whole life is a joke that he is in on.
I think you're right.
Did you see
I wonder.
he did like there's a Master Chef type show, Iron Chef. He did a US version of Iron Chef. They did one pilot and it got cancelled.
Oh, really?
But it's on YouTube. It's the most ridiculously over the top thing you'll ever see in your life. He's just like gushing in lyrical admiration for food and the food process in such a way that you're looking at it and you're like, surely he knows how ridiculous this is. And of course he does.
Of course he does.
Yeah, of course he does.
Anytime you mention Shatner, you have to say, there's something on the wing. Something.
You do a better William Shatner impression than I do. So I wanted to talk about a separate thing, but just first, because you mentioned, Richard, the South Korean crypto there before. I did see something earlier this year that North Korea are rumored to be kind of harboring
Interesting.
cryptocurrency.
Harboring a cryptocurrency, like it's a fugitive from
Like
justice.
Hoarding.
Mr. Kim released the Bitcoin.
Hoarding cryptocurrency. 1,100 Bitcoin was the figure that was kind of being banned. Worth at the time of it 100.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's a decent chunk of change.
Yeah.
But I don't know where they're actually storing it in there. There's no
Especially because North Korea has an intranet, not an internet. Their system is entirely internal. So I wonder how they. I mean, I guess they
except for like very high end.
Yes, they must have something. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's fascinating.
But my main cryptocurrency story this week, and I'm really sorry that Liz isn't here because it's her favorite cryptocurrency of all time, is related to Dogecoin.
Of course.
Of course it is. The ultimate underdog that no one takes seriously, and started off as a joke. But just a recent report from Bitcoinist revealed that Dogecoin transactions, in terms of activity, are outnumbering Bitcoin Cash at the moment by 3 to 1.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
At the time of publication of the article I had read, there was 40,000 transactions with Bitcoin Cash. Over 40,000 transactions processed with Dogecoin versus 13,400 with Bitcoin Cash.
That's substantial.
While the market cap is still an awful lot lower. So the actual value of Dogecoin is quite low, but it seems to be being transacted quite a lot forward and back.
Much success.
Yeah.
Yeah, low value, much transaction.
Interestingly, Vice Ratings, or Weiss Ratings, depending on how you pronounce it, which is like an independent ratings firm which rates cryptocurrencies the same way ratings agencies rate companies and banks and stuff, gave Dogecoin a C rating, which is similar to Ripple, kind of rating it at a similar level to higher coins in the market. They said the numbers are the numbers. This was the blog on the Weiss Ratings site, which says Dogecoin's use is greater than Bitcoin Cash. Its usage is also greater than Dash and Zcoin combined. Dogecoin's market cap is still far behind Bitcoin Cash's, but it definitely looks like there's a lot of activity going on in the Dogecoin network.
That's nutty.
Interestingly, the same ratings organization only rated Bitcoin C+. Yeah.
Wow. Does
Ethereum got B, so Ethereum comes out quite well. Bitcoin not so much. Yeah. And the reason, mainly for the issues with Bitcoin, are that falls short, they said, in two specific areas. One is instability of the price and repeated price crashes, but the other, which comes back to what we were talking about earlier, is energy consumption being an issue and scalability being an issue. As the network keeps getting bigger, as the price keeps going up, as the difficulty keeps going up, the computer power used to mine Bitcoin is just going to become astronomical. Ireland now, France next year, and the whole of the European Union the year after. I'm not really sure, but they're kind of saying the power that's going to be needed by this network in the future is going to affect scalability.
You know, we had a guest, Sky Dunworth, who kind of explained that concept to us, that every year it's getting harder to mine and there are fewer mined, unlike gold, where every year it's getting easier to mine and more gold is mined than the previous year. Bitcoin is getting more difficult to mine, and those last
by design as well.
Yes, and there's a finite amount of it, and but the last couple Bitcoins in existence could theoretically take an infinite amount of processing power and energy to
so you never get to the end.
But that's one reason that kind of supports the economics of it from her standpoint, from Sky Dunworth's standpoint, is it's like there's built-in scarcity, and so it's like as it gets more difficult to get, in theory it should become more valuable.
In theory,
in theory, communism works. In theory,
and it's a question of what, like, it's all psychological, the value of these things as well. You know? But like anything with perceived value.
But isn't that anything in the world?
Yeah. This is true.
other than, you know, like basic necessities for the sustenance of life.
Well, even gold is essentially just it's a psychological. That's right. People put their trust in it because they put their trust in it. Yeah.
But will it become, because the difficulty will increase of verifying blocks as the network increases? Will it mean that not only is Bitcoin takes more computer power to mine,
but the whole
it will
blockchain
take more computer power to actually transact in? I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah. This conversation has taken kind of an existential turn that makes it seem as though we are huge fans of Dennis Rodman's sponsor, Potcoin.
Potcoin.
We're not, folks. We're not. I promise. Yeah. So I understand kind of I definitely understand the argument that would say that the economics are there for becoming more valuable as time goes on.
Yeah, no, it's a legitimate sort of theory, I guess. But I think, I don't know. I tend to be
an additional commodity.
Yes, but it's not. That's why I'm a bit
You can't
skeptical.
make it
Right?
into jewelry. I don't know. I mean, one of the comparisons they had in the blog that I read was that Bitcoin is like the Model T of cryptocurrencies. When the Model T rolled onto the streets in 1908, people were shocked by the technology and adapted it very quickly. But you don't see many driving around today. Though, mind you, to that point, the ones that are driving around will be incredibly valuable. So you never.
That's true. Yeah.
Interestingly, views towards all this are changing because William Shatner, of all people, a few years ago on Twitter, called Bitcoin a cyber snob currency. So
cyber snob currency.
Cyber snob currency. So now apparently his views have evolved. So there you go.
What happens when you become a spokesperson, cash money? I wonder was he paid in Bitcoin or what? I bet he wasn't. I bet he definitely wasn't.
Yeah, I'm guessing not.
Probably not.
Fiat all the way.
What would John McAfee say about this? I wonder.
Well, we could probably take this the existential questions even further because, my sort of cryptocurrency news story is, and this is the headline: there is now a blockchain-based religion. No, this is not a joke. And the question is this actually a joke? It's kind of hard to actually work out. But there's a guy whose name is Matt Liston. He's most famous for, he was a developer for Augur, the blockchain betting tool, who's been suing the creators of that tool because they've sort of, made a lot of money out of it or whatever. And he feels that he's sort of missed out, that classic Silicon Valley thing of, the founders suing each other. But he's now gone and founded a blockchain-based religion, although he does say that he declared that he is not the crypto prophet or the crypto messiah. He's actually Jewish.
So we're still waiting on the crypto messiah.
Oh, yes. But Christians and Jews alike are waiting for their messiahs to come in the crypto space. Essentially, what Liston is saying is, or what they've created here is a blockchain-based religion. It's called 0x Omega. And the exact quote, and it's a mouthful, but he says, we're incentivizing mind sharing and eventually mind upload to use consensus to form a structure of collective consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm down with that.
Very Star Trek.
Potcoin. Yeah. Like
Potcoin, yeah.
He's essentially saying that through the collective power of the blockchain, there's going to somehow be a new flowering of human consciousness through sharing. It's completely vague.
Like minds in the clouds?
Yeah, it sounds like it's a bit like a sort of cyberpunk type thing. Yeah, a bit of
that's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
I think Black Mirror may have dealt with this at one
quite
point.
possibly, yeah. There's an element of tongue-in-cheekness to it because he sort of
An element.
Yeah, they're simultaneously self-aware of the joke, but also they seem to be for real in their own collective mind. So it's a funny one.
Well, I consider myself a Pastafarianist, so the Slime Spaghetti Monster has touched me with his great noodly appendage. But I have to say, this kind of appeals as well as a backup religion that also doesn't take itself too seriously.
Well, it depends upon who they decide the crypto messiah is. If it's Ashton Kutcher, I'm on board.
Oh, wow.
If it's William Shatner...
Oh my goodness! Sign me up,
dude. Where's my crypto messiah?
No, Patrick Stewart would be. Patrick Stewart. Like Shatner is Bitcoin. Stewart's probably Ethereum, slightly more sophisticated.
Yeah, hipper,
European,
more sophisticated. Yeah.
Patrick Stewart could be Shia Islam, and Shatner could be the Sunni. Yeah, that could be, or Catholic Protestant, perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also, if it's Steven Seagal, sign me up.
Interesting.
Which is Stewart and Shatner, Protestant Catholic, which is
that could work possibly. I don't know. Stewart is a sort of is he a Martin Luther sort of thing?
We're not doing a great job in convincing you that we're not high.
I know,
but we really
this one.
Yeah, we really aren't. We really aren't.
We're incentivizing mind sharing, folks.
Usually, we don't feel so free and easy to speak because we're afraid of Liz's withering criticism
and wrath.
Yeah, but without that, it's like, just unchecked. This is the kind of idiocy we get up to. But we'll put a neat little cap on it. That's cryptocurrency for you. Up next, are you broke yet? Okay, so for Are You Broke Yet, we kind of changed the way we do it. We used to spread out risk amongst a bunch of different coins, and then every week we'd just be like, "Are you broke yet?" Sorta, and it got a bit stale because there's nothing really concrete to connect with, and so we changed it up. As you may remember, we explained a couple weeks ago to each invest in a single coin and follow the ups and downs and trials and travails of just one coin. So what I picked was Monero, and all of you who listen to this podcast on a regular basis are sitting at home thinking, certainly, after so many weeks of this, he's not going to make a Tony Monero joke again. You'd be wrong. The Tony Monero coin, so named for John Travolta's character in the film Saturday Night Fever, I bought $100 worth. It's down to $97.19. And at its peak, Monero was doing some good business, but it kind of had a plunge. And I found this article that kind of looked into the reason that Monero has been dropping. It's a big thing in the crypto community amongst people who like the idea that it offers anonymity, right? It hit a high of about $290 per Monero at one point. It's come off that a bit. And the interesting thing is why? Like, why hasn't it kind of broken through? It's taken a lot of different steps in terms of adoption from different people and advancing its technology, but the price doesn't seem to reflect it. And the conclusion that this article kind of came to as to why Monero's price doesn't seem to have broken through is, hell if I know. But it does have some interesting stuff ahead. They've got some upgrades coming up. They were integrated with Ledger Nano S, which is a big move, for like cryptocurrency wallets. And a new study has kind of found that like there are fears that botnets could be kind of infecting the system, and they found that that the problem may not have been as big as they thought. So there are a lot of fundamentals kind of that would seem to indicate that Monero's got a bright future ahead, but we'll see, because so far those fundamentals haven't really moved it. So there you go.
Only been a week, though. Plenty of time for
It's only been a week. And it's been a roller coaster of a week. Like, I bought like $150 worth of Bitcoin just because, as I said on a previous podcast, I couldn't bear the thought of not continuing to hold Bitcoin. Yeah. And that's up to 157. And at one point it was down like 147. So it's fluctuated quite a bit.
So is this all spreading out from the initial $100 investment?
I put my own skin in the game.
Oh.
I decided, what's a great time to get into, put my own skin in the game in the cryptocurrency market? When it's tanking.
So, Bottom of the trough is the time.
So I think the trough has further to go, but we'll see.
Oh, the trough just keeps like. But Bitcoin has been bouncing around like.
It's crazy.
I'm trying to think of the name of the person who plays basketball. We were just talking about
Dennis Rodman.
Like Dennis Rodman.
Tony Monero. No.
Over recent weeks, up and down, up and down. Cardano was the one that I picked based on the results from our Finder.com cryptocurrency predictive survey with cryptocurrency experts saying what's going to happen. So I picked that last week. The biggest roller coaster ride was actually applying for the account with CoinSpot and getting approved and having to send a photograph, and it was a little bit ridiculous, but got it done. Put $100 in, 100 Australian dollars. Now, for the last week, Cardano has been bouncing around in terms of US dollars between kind of 16 and 17 cents.
Maybe not like Dennis Rodman, but more like, say, a Horace Grant.
I don't know who that is, but yeah, sure, why not? So there hasn't been an awful lot of movement. Basically, the $100 investment is down to slightly less than what you have, Adam. I'm down to $95.92. So I was like, I don't really know what to think about that. Is it going to continue to slide? Is it not? But then I decided, based on my research earlier of the Vice cryptocurrency ratings, to look up the Cardano rating versus other cryptocurrencies, and Cardano actually gets a B rating along with EOS and Ethereum, which it puts it definitely in the top kind of 10% of cryptocurrencies rated by this organization. So I have confidence in this investment longer term.
Yeah, my Ethereum is still down on where I bought it, but we'll see.
Swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, I have a fair amount of faith in Ethereum. Like it'll get there. General advice only.
do not invest based on Adam's suggestions.
No, God no.
Do the opposite of what Adam does. No.
I think we need a Pastafarian coin, actually. That's what I think we need.
Oh,
I'd have faith in that.
interesting.
An FSM coin.
An atheist coin.
Noodle coin. Atheist coin.
That's interesting. Well, yeah, I haven't bought any cryptos at all. I'm an old-fashioned fiat guy, but Liz has given me her info.
You have Liz's results.
I do, yeah. So she
Let's
bought.
clean it out.
Let's take it. Yeah, I've got a
her
wallet
for a ride.
right here, actually. She bought Ripple, and she spent $92 on Ripple, and she's now down to about 91. I'm looking at the graph here, or the chart of how Ripple's been doing, and it's been a dizzying sort of. It's been up, very much up and then down, sort of quite harshly over the. Like June's been an interesting time. It went up and up and up. At one point, I think June 4th, it was worth almost $110 Australian, and it's plummeted down. Whereas now it's at just above $90. So it's been all over the place.
Look, guys, from a biblical allegory standpoint, this is Ashton Kutcher's time in the wilderness. Okay, and he'll emerge stronger than before. So.
This is the trial. This is the.
This is the trials, the temptations.
Yeah.
I think he's like the Borg. You try and kill him and he comes back stronger. He adapts.
He adapts.
To your
That's
frequency.
exactly. That's why Ashton Kutcher is our crypto messiah.
We need to get William Shatner on that.
All right. So, well, there you go. That is an awkward, halting end to Are You Broke Yet? Up next, Decrypted. If you're an average, everyday, normal dummy like Richard over here, it could be that you don't know a whole lot about cryptocurrency, right? And so if someone kind of asked you about it, you may not have a well-formed opinion. So we thought that we would take it to the streets and see, we're kind of, a lot of us in this bubble of talking about it all the time, we're thinking about it all the time, and so we can have this idea that the knowledge of it is fairly ubiquitous, when really it could be a bit more of a niche thing than we think it is. So we thought, let's find out. So Graham and Richard took to the streets and decided to take it to you, the people, the common man, the proletariat, and find out what the great unwashed masses think about cryptocurrency. And this is what you said.
So we are on the streets of Sydney on Piermont Bridge to see if we can find anybody to tell us what they think about cryptocurrency. Hey Keaton, can you tell us what you know about cryptocurrency, please?
It's a decentralized currency. I think it'll be the way of the future.
Yeah, you think it's going to be the way we transact in the future?
Yeah, and maybe not specifically Bitcoin, but some form of regulated cryptocurrency, yes.
So do you think the days of the big banks kind of controlling everyday spending are on the way out?
Not necessarily. I think there will be currencies. There's lots of people testing digital currencies even within banks at the moment. It's probably going to change how we do banking, not necessarily the controls and the regulations, because the banks don't just provide services, they're also regulated entities. So unless that model changes, I don't think the business itself will change.
So do you think the non-regulation side of it is kind of the most positive thing about what crypto could do?
I think the non-regulation has its upsides and downsides. I think for the general market, I think people wanting to get into crypto will look for regulated currency to be safer, but I think there is a slight edge on the non-regulated side. I think people do see that there's benefits of having non-regulated currencies as well as a form of investment.
Yeah. And have you bought any crypto yourself or invested?
Yeah, I have cryptos myself. I trade in altcoins as well.
Oh wow, okay. So what coins do you have?
I have GAT, I have Flix, I have Track, I have BTC, I have ETH.
Have you made much cash on those in terms of value?
So I just play around a little bit. I started with $100. I've got about $450 now.
Well, okay, that's not too bad. Over how many coins?
2 months. Over about 15 coins.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you for your views there. You feel me? How you doing, Frank? Can you tell us what you know about cryptocurrency, please?
Well, I invested in the cryptocurrency. This is 12 months ago or 14 months ago, something like that.
Which coin did you invest in?
It was one of the original ones that came out.
Right. And do you still have the investment now, or did you kind of get in and get out?
I made, I think the multiple was about 8 of what I originally got in, and it was too good to miss. But it kept on going even higher.
So you made 8 times your investment and then you ditched out.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Do you feel like you should have held it now, like later on, or?
Well, greed gets if greed gets the better of you, you keep it on. Then what happened? Just like the share market, it goes down, and you're thinking, no, it's only temporary. Then you might see it go to nothing, because so far it's not a really great safe currency, is it?
So do you see it more as like a commodity rather than a currency people could use?
Beautifully said, right? Yeah, commodity far more than anything else. That's it, nothing more than that.
And like your initial taste of getting in and getting some cash and getting out, would you be interested in investing again, or are you kind of done with that?
No. Everything I've read about it and talking to other people, no, it was a fad as far as I can see. Now, whether there's a future on it, at the moment I don't know, but I wouldn't invest in again in this currency, no.
Do you trust the banks after everything we've heard about in the Royal Commission here?
I've never trusted the banks.
Right.
I've had a lot of dealings with them, so no.
So maybe like if we could get a currency that works, that's decentralized, it might be a good thing in the future. Do you think?
Well, if you could get it and people believed in it, yes. But it's like everything else. Yeah. I'm a skeptic, a little bit of a skeptic there, and so it's the same with the banks. I've always been a skeptic.
So we have been filming in the city for about an hour trying to get people's opinions on cryptocurrency, and we're using the approaching question of, do you know anything about cryptocurrency? And of the, say, 40 or so people we've asked so far, we've only got 2 yeses and 2 interviews, and 38 out of 40 have said no. So the knowledge is not that high on the streets of Sydney. We're going to try our luck a second time at this location. So, no success here. I think people are kind of in a hurry to get from point A to point B, and we're somewhere in between the two. It's not the best place to be. So we're going to try a bit more of an open area for part 3. Okay, so location number 1, Pyrmont Bridge. We got 2 people out of about, I don't know, a dozen people we asked, successful. Location 2, Darling Harbour. We asked about the same number of people. We got no pickup at all. Not many knowledgeable people about cryptocurrency in Darling Harbour. This is location 3. It's our last chance to get some new opinions on crypto in Hyde Park in Sydney. See, one of the issues, as you can see, is a kind of general lack of foot traffic. And there's always a big stream of people coming, and then as soon as you set up the camera, they all get to where they need to go. So this has been a bit of an issue. We'll see how we go. So can you tell us what you know about cryptocurrency?
Well, to be honest, not much. I know that it's, but like as far as I heard, they are similar to stock market, except like without the product, you just, well, I'm not sure about the products of that, but like you don't have the tangible products for like stock, and the price for that is based on us. I'm not really sure, to be honest, but
yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. So it's like a tradable coin that's unregulated. Have you seen the kind of news recently in the Royal Commission and the bad news about banks in Australia? Has that changed your opinion and made you not trust banks as much?
No, not really. I just, well, to be honest, I don't watch the news much, so.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Where do you get your news?
Sometimes I just read a newspaper when I'm on going on the train.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just got bored and just got search on the internet whenever my friends tell me about something that I should look up to.
So do you think crypto is like a fad that's going to disappear, or is it something that's here to stay, or what do you think?
People say it's going to disappear like a couple of years ago, but then it's just go back and up, back and up. It's just go up and down most of the time.
It's just bouncing around.
Yeah.
So there's no real kind of actual value. It's just kind of random almost.
Value. By value, I mean if you convince someone to pay you just for some a brand of something, then people still pay for the brand. So.
So you're saying the value is all in the perception, what people perceive to be value. Yeah, completely. Thank you very much for your opinion.
All right.
Cheers. So we found some very special people here. We just went, do you guys know anything about cryptocurrency?
What we learned is that a lot of people do have an opinion on this stuff, whether informed or uninformed. But it is kind of part of the public consciousness.
That's right. Yeah, people know the word at least, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and obviously that's only gonna continue as it becomes more and more common to transact this way. So, anyway. Next week we'll have an even more interesting little experiment for you. Where
Next week, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah,
Adam.
where basically, I earlier decided to just right off the bat insult Richard by calling him a dummy, but next week we'll actually find out, because what we're going to do is, Richard being a cryptocurrency novice, we're going to bring him a few coins and blockchain technologies, and he'll have to tell us whether these are actual coins and blockchain technologies or whether it's stuff we just pulled right out of our asses. So tune in for that. It's going to be really good, and hopefully at the end Richard will be the one laughing, and we'll all feel quite the fool.
Hopefully we'll all be laughing.
Yeah, yeah, one would hope. Yeah, that's kind of the point of this thing. So anyway, tune in for that, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening to HODL That Thought. We'll be back next week, if cryptocurrencies are still a thing. And make sure you head over to finder.com/hodl-that-thought to find the show notes for this episode and more great episodes. We're focused on providing information and entertainment. We're not a securities dealer, and we're not encouraging you to trade. Cryptocurrencies are volatile and unpredictable, so get advice rather than acting on anything we say. Read our disclaimer, understand our approach, and then sit back and enjoy our podcast. You might learn something. Stranger things have happened.